Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to The Opinion. I'm your host, Ethan, and I'm going to let my co-host introduce himself here.
Hello, everyone. My name is Brandon. Happy to be here, Ethan. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, no problem, man. No problem. Sorry for the little buffer there. I thought you were going to play a little tune or something for the intro.
Oh, that's fine. That's fine. We'll figure that out.
But anyways, yeah, my name is Ethan. I'm a young man from the Michigan. I didn't want to say the city, but I'm from the state of Michigan. I love
Yeah, I know.
Detroit teams. I love Detroit sports. We like the
Metro Detroit
Pistons.
guy.
That's right. That's right. Like the Pistons, the Tigers, you know, the Lions, big Michigan fan. Hate OSU, MSU, don't really like them either. Um, all that.
Yeah, I mean, mostly I agree completely with you, man. I mean, a local guy as well. Just, we're a big fan of the Red Wings, Tigers, Pistons. I am a Giants and Lions fan. But either way, I still respect the Lions. I really like Michigan. If I had to pick between them and Michigan State, of course it's Michigan. And yeah, otherwise I'm just, I'm really excited we're finally here. Finally did it.
That's right. We've been talking about making this little show for a while, and now we're finally here, ready to do it. So we came up with a little structure. It's going to be called The Opinion. Me and my colleague Brandon here researched a few topics ahead of time for the show that we would like to share with each other and with you all, our audience. So,
Yeah, absolutely.
we'll have you start off first.
All right. So, first one is going to be our local sports update. So, at first, we have the Detroit Tigers. The Detroit Tigers are currently in spring training. The regular season begins the first week of April, and the Tigers are really hoping to improve on a pretty wretched season last year. This year so far, we've seen some promise from the power. A lot of the balls have been flying out of the ballpark, so it's a really good thing to see. And as far as the Red Wings go, the Red Wings recently made some moves showing that they are still not quite ready to compete in the playoffs. But still, they are going to be finishing the season on the cusp of a playoff berth. They currently just ended a 6-game win streak. And so now they are playing Boston today, looking to build on a win against their rival Chicago. So, and as far as the Pistons go, it's been much of the same old for them. A whole lot of losing. The Pistons are currently, I believe, on a 10-game losing streak. And that includes dropping 2 of 20 as well. Or winning 2 of 20. I apologize. So the Pistons are they're in tank mode right now. They still got a lot of talent on the roster, and they're really looking to, get a great draft pick this year, and just keep building for next season. And as far as that goes, I mean, we'll just see what they can do with that.
Yeah, it's quite obvious that they're trying to get another low draft pick like they did last year. Get another Cade Cunningham-like player.
That seems to be the goal. Yeah, absolutely. Seeing that they have one of the worst records in the NBA, if not the worst at the current time. I know them and the Spurs have been going back and forth all year. So,
yeah, just not very much to talk about on the Pistons side. Not much success from this year. 15 wins, 50-something losses, 52 now, I believe, or 51.
Just a lot. Just an absurd amount. I mean, I think they are 15 and 52 right now. So it is definitely, it's going to be a battle, uphill battle.
Yeah, it's just very hard to watch.
0 and 10 in their last 10.
That's right, guys. It's hard to watch basketball. It's very hard to watch them. And Michigan basketball obviously hasn't been the most successful.
No, Ethan, you're absolutely right. Michigan recently lost to Rutgers in the Big Ten tournament Thursday. So a lot of the hope was Michigan needed a couple wins to bolster its tournament resume. They needed to beat Rutgers to start, and then at least it would help a lot if they beat Purdue in the second round of the Big Ten tournament. Well, unfortunately, that they didn't even beat Rutgers, so they didn't even make it out the first round of the tournament, really. So now they're sitting at 17 and 15, I believe, which is just not going to be good enough.
It's not good enough to be.
It's just not going to be good enough to get them into the tournament, man. And they were on the bubble. They needed a couple things to go their way. But really, a really poor performance by Michigan in that second half against Rutgers. I believe they went one of 18 from the field in the second half. It's just until garbage time, about 2 minutes left in the game, they were already out by 14. It was tough to watch, man. I mean, I think, especially with the season you've been teetering the whole year on the bubble, this is kind of, what we expected from them, I guess. You can't be too surprised with that.
Really not too shocked. I mean, they haven't beat a ranked opponent all year. It's just been hard to consider them a tournament-ready team, at all. I don't think that they're going to be able to get much, even if they did get.
That's right. I mean, you can't even. Too many losses by single digits and close games. There's not much you can really do with that. I mean, they're just simply not a tournament team, and you can just hope that they can return a few players for next season. And I mean, NIT is NIT, so we'll go from there. And of course, the Spartans, they lost yesterday to the Buckeyes in the Big Ten tournament. The Spartans are a little bit in more comfortably. They're in, I think, projected around a 9 or a 10 seed line. That could always go up to around an 8 too. We just never know. They had a decent season. Michigan State did, split with Michigan. Obviously, they didn't want to lose to Ohio State yesterday, but regardless, they'll still be ready for March. It's a team you might expect to make it to the Sweet 16 potentially, but we'll just have to wait and see. But otherwise, it was a pretty good season for them, especially with considering what happened.
But yeah, man, do you want to talk about the Bears getting that trading away their number 1 overall pick?
Biggest headline going around right now in the NFL is the fact that the Bears traded the first overall pick in the NFL draft. The NFL draft's coming up here in about a month. And so the details of that trade was the Chicago Bears, as they expected, they traded the first pick. The Panthers are sending over the 9th pick of the first round, their second round pick in this draft, and as well as their next year's first round pick, and then a 2025 second round pick. They're also sending over DJ Moore. So the Panthers are down to 6 picks in the 2023 draft. They're all inside the top 150. And I think clearly with the number 1 pick that they're getting a franchise quarterback with that. So the Bears are up 10. They're up to 10 picks in the 2023 draft. That means including 4 in the top 64. That gives them a lot of flexibility. If they need to, they can move up. They don't have to. There's a lot of talent they could just pick from and roster up. But if there's something in particular that they wanted, they could definitely, combine some trades and make some moves here to get that person. So we'll just have to wait and see. I mean, there's a lot that could go down before then. And I think this trade makes sense for both teams. The Bears had no reason to have the first overall selection, dude. They have Fields, you know what I mean? A lot of people saying trade Fields maybe for something, but that just doesn't make sense to me. He's young. He's just started to come onto his own. Trade the pick. They got a haul for it. They finally got Fields at number 1 with DJ Moore. He's still young, and the Panthers obviously clearly in rebuild after they traded McCaffrey midseason as well. They're clearly in the market for a franchise quarterback. So it's looking like it'll be Bryce Young in the number 1 overall slot, but we truly do not know. They might see Anthony Richardson. They might have saw something and they moved up there. We can't rule that out. However, I believe it is going to be Bryce Young that the Panthers really traded for that first overall pick for.
I believe Bryce Young is indeed the safe pick, but we have to take into consideration that we haven't really seen these quarterbacks that get drafted real early have much success in the league in recent history. Like look at Zach Wilson and the Jets, for instance.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, you just got to trust that, they know what they're doing. They see something they like. And yeah, they ended up giving up a lot for the pick. So, like you said, they're giving up a lot of value for someone. It'll be a rookie. So
Yeah, they're
we'll
putting a lot of
see.
stake in this number one man. Hopefully this
Yeah,
delivers. But yeah, if they pick CJ Stroud as a Michigan fan, I'll be quite baffled.
and Stroud looked good, man. I mean, obviously he's not Ohio State anymore, but like, yeah, like you said, I mean, he looked good. He's a pure thrower. I mean, I think with the size and attributes, he's just a little bit better than Bryce Young, but I know Young is just his decision making, his ability to, read offenses, read defenses. He's very, very smart back there. So that could be just one of those things, the intangibles that really, really play a big role here. And Stroud is 0-2 against Michigan.
That's right. That's what
So,
I'm saying.
but all right, Ethan. So we'll move right on over to our next topic. Our next topic is going to be Anthony Richardson. So, Ethan, if you want to just take it away, what do you have on Anthony Richardson?
Yeah, that's right. So obviously he had quite the impressive, not just quite the impressive, that's an understatement. He had a very historic combine performance. So he ran the fastest 40 time out of all the quarterbacks this year. He ran a 4.44. This is only 200ths of a second slower than RG3 did, you know, in 2012. This is the third best all time of any quarterback at the NFL Combine. All right. He also had the best vertical jump of all time recorded in the history of the Combine and the best broad jump of all time. Anthony Richardson did the broad jump at 10 foot 9 inches. It's the best broad jump ever recorded by a quarterback in the NFL Combine. Will Levis, that guy from Kentucky, he was next place by half a foot. He was half a foot away, you know. And I'm a big broad jump fan myself. You know that, Brandon. I'm a big
Yeah,
proponent of the
definitely.
broad jump. Measures your lower body strength, and lower body strength has a lot to do with throwing that football. So he's clearly very athletic. He had a historic performance at the combine. Out of all these quarterbacks, he's a freak, an outlier. No one's as athletic as Anthony Richardson. But the only problem is that he throws a lot of interceptions. So I'm hoping out of all these teams that are shopping around for quarterbacks, maybe he can go to Seattle and develop under Geno Smith and become a better decision maker. And that's really what I think he needs most to polish out, become a elite NFL quarterback. He reminds me a lot of RG3 or like Lamar Jackson. And I think that his ceiling is incredibly high and he just needs to be polished out. But if he goes to the Colts or some team like that where he is just going to be thrown a starting role immediately, I don't think he's ready for that. We're not going to see the best that he has to offer.
Yeah, and I hear you. And I was really impressed with what Richardson, could do at the combine, man. Like you said, he set records for quarterbacks. These are numbers we haven't seen. I mean, we've seen him in other positions like linebackers and stuff. And I heard, people were saying he looks like a linebacker out there doing all the drills. And that's just something, we really haven't seen, especially at a quarterback position. And Seattle, I think, they still have that high pick, despite the great record. They have the high pick from the Rush trade. So, I mean, if he's there, I think they're at 7. I mean, like you said, behind Geno, he's not going to be able to start right away. I mean, I think that's what people are going to have to realize. It's going to be maybe a year of him sitting behind. I know he said in the combine that he's ready to start day one, but if he went to Seattle, it's looking like a team that has a quarterback now that would maybe take a chance on a prospect like him for a higher ceiling. Because Geno will get him a couple good years. I mean, Pete Carroll. I mean, he's a great coach. He's going to develop the quarterback extremely well. So if Richardson likes that, he goes to Pete Carroll, learns there a year or two. I mean, I think, like you said, his ceiling is just incredibly high, and I mean, it was very impressive. I did not expect that out of him. I knew he had athletic traits, but this is definitely something. Yeah, it caught storm. It created a storm.
I was telling someone the other day that Seattle is just a good city for quarterbacks to be. Like we see Russell Wilson leave Seattle, he goes to Denver, and he's dog shit now, you know. And we see Geno
Yeah,
Smith,
it's that. Yeah, tough
who has a
adjustment.
reputation of being dog shit, and now he's Pro Bowler, playoff quarterback. I think Anthony
Contract signs
Richardson
a
would
big
be
contract. Everything.
exactly. I think it's the perfect spot for a young quarterback to be. Learn from Pete Carroll, learn from these amazing Seattle coaches. Seattle's a city football culture. They don't have a lot of pro sports teams. They root for the ones that they got. It's a good city for him to be, I think.
I'll be
He
interested to
can
see
just
what he
sit
can
there and
do,
just
where
soak
he
it in like
lands.
a sponge, and he's obviously got what it takes to be a professional athlete. We know that, but he needs to learn what it takes to be a professional quarterback.
I agree. I agree. So our next topic we have, I guess we'll just sway right into it, is the quarterback of the New York Giants gets paid. Daniel Jones signs a 4-year, $160 million contract with the Giants. And a lot of people, we were wondering what kind of would happen coming down to it. They had until, I think it was Tuesday at 4 o'clock to franchise tag him or decide on a long-term deal. And yeah, they waited to the last second in order to do that. I think at 3:53, we found out that he had signed the deal. So what the details are, he's $82 million guaranteed in the first 2 years. Um, Jones has a $21 million cap hit this year, which really does give the Giants a little bit of freedom. And it'd be 11.4 million less than if he had been franchise tagged by the franchise. So now this contract he signed with the average annual value of 40 million, he's now the ninth highest paid QB in the league at a per year value. So he's right behind Dak Prescott, who's a similar 40 million per year. And then he's right ahead of Derek Carr, who's at a 37.5 million. So right in that middle class of your quarterbacks there. Jones slightly wins in a good agreement. I think at the deadline, it was a good agreement for both sides. Jones showed last year that he could play at a very high level. There was very little talent around him, a still banged up O-line. No receivers, Walmart cashiers for receivers that came into their own. He has some competent coaching staff around him for the first time in a while. And you can finally start to see, his development and how good of a quarterback he can really be. Plus, the 2-year guaranteed money is good for the Giants. 2 years, that means they're only stuck with him for at least two, and the other two are optional. So if they're in case of a complete collapse, which is just not going to happen, they're covered in that too. So although it is a little high, the 40 million, I think Jones, he fought for that. He fired his agency. I think, he's really earned that contract, especially after, such a season that he elevated them to their first playoff win in a long time. And a team where they were expected to win about 5 games. And they ended up, winning a playoff game and making it to the second round of the playoffs. So as far as that goes, I think it's very exciting. The Giants, I think it gives them a chance to build around him. So I think it's really good for both sides here. Hoping it's working out for both of them. All right, I guess I'll handle every transition. So
Sorry. I guess then
this
I'll talk
one,
about my
the
next
next one will
topic.
be Fred Van Vliet criticizes officials.
Yeah, so that's right,
Ethan
Brandon.
will give us a rundown of that.
So we got Fred Van Fleet. He was fined $30,000 for some comments that he made, triggered by a little cheeky technical that was called on him late in the third quarter. So he calls out this referee by name. I'm gonna share my screen and show the clip with you because it's quite funny. I don't know if you've seen it. It's about a minute long. But
Yeah, let's see it.
so he was fined about $3,000 for the tech, and he was fined 30,000 for his comments here. So this is a $33,000 loss by Fred at this game tonight for him. This was on oh man, this was on Thursday, I believe, or I'm sorry, Tuesday, I believe it was on when they played the Clippers,
It
if I
was. Yep.
remember. Yeah, okay. I'm gonna share the clip with you right now.
I mean, I don't
Yeah, let's
mind.
take a
I'll
look.
take a fine. I don't really care. I thought,
Yep, it's
Ben Taylor
working.
was fucking terrible tonight. I thought that on most nights, a couple of the, out of the three, there's one or two that just fucked the game up. And it's been like that a couple games in a row. Denver was tough, obviously. You come out tonight, you're competing pretty hard. The third quarter, I get a bullshit tech, changes the whole dynamic of the game, changes the whole flow of the game. And, most of the refs are trying hard. I like a lot of the refs are trying hard. They're pretty fair. They communicate well. And then you got the other ones who just want to be dicks and it just kind of fucks the game up. Nobody's coming to see that shit. They come to see the players. And I think we're losing a little bit of the fabric of what the NBA is and was. And it's been disappointing this season. You could look up most of my texts this year have been with Ben Taylor officiating. So at a certain point as a player, you feel it's personal. And it's never a good place to be. That's not why we lost tonight. We got outplayed. But it definitely makes it tougher to overcome.
Yeah. Wow.
But yeah, so I thought that that was quite funny, and I thought that it was very nice how he was able to sound still professional while he's swearing so much, and how he still said that his opponents outplayed them, and it's not the refs' fault that they lost, but that the refs are still terrible. But I wanted to say that I think that stuff like this could be prevented if the refs are more transparent. Like you could see in the XFL now, they when they go to video replay, they show what the refs are saying in the replay booth, like what they're talking about, what they're actually looking at. I think after these games, if the refs had to face the media like the players and coaches do, be more transparent about their calls, be held accountable, we wouldn't have to see these refs like making the game about themselves. Like no one wants to see that, like you're saying. They're there to see the game get played. They don't want to see the refs make the game about themselves.
You're right, and you could tell he was very upset. Like I mean, he was trying to hold himself back. Like he was. I mean, obviously he did let some explicits out, but um, understandably, like and he feels if there was one in particular, he even cleared the other refs. He said there's so many of them that were just do their job and do the right thing. And like you said, I mean, just holding them accountable. I've heard that several times. A lot of the refs they do that. They try and make the game about them. This is obviously not all officials. I mean, there's a lot of really, really good officials, and like he said, a lot of them just do their job. So I think it'd be a great solution. Like you said, mic'd up or having them held accountable, even having them answer questions after the game. I know that's a little bit more intense on the intense side, but that would be the players have to answer to it, the questions after the game as well as the coaches. So I feel like, I mean, is why not the refs as well? I mean, it's definitely just it's an idea, but it's some way to hold them accountable, in my opinion.
Something, man. We got to do something or start fining the refs if there's like collectively we all agree that the call was bad. Like the players get fined when they act out of line. So do the coaches. Like these referees, they have an impact on the game, especially when they're making horrible, unfair calls.
Yeah, and you can tell the ones that do have some effect on the game. They like that. They enjoy being able to affect the game and stuff, and that's not really what it's about. And yeah, fine. Maybe not this particular incident. Who knows what Fred exactly said to him? It's hearsay, But like you said, as far as blatantly obvious, someone they should be held accountable. I mean, some sort of way. I feel like.
I think calling out the ref by name was quite funny. And that's another way that they could be held accountable is by putting their names on their jerseys or something. They're just like
Yeah,
unidentifiable.
you're right. They just have a number. And Fred, he knew he was going to get fined, so he went all in. He's like, you know what? I'm going to get fined either way. I might as well, get everything off my chest. And you could tell that he did. He did not hold anything back. So, I mean, props to him for that, really. I mean,
But I added a little side note. So So he got another fine in 2021 when they played Philly. It was about half as much as this one. It was for 15,000. And it was after he made a 3-point shot. He ran down the floor doing the big balls dance. He got fined for
I remember that
doing
one.
an
Yeah,
obscene gesture.
an obscene gesture. He hit a big shot. I mean, it was
So he's
good.
just a vulgar guy, you know,
He
but he
is.
plays with passion, he puts up numbers, and
Yeah,
he's that guy over there in Toronto. So good for him.
he's a ball player, man. We'll sway right on over. Um, the World Baseball Classic returns. Obviously, games have been going on, but as far as for the Team United States, they start tonight, which is Saturday the 11th. So probably by the time you're listening to it, you'll probably know the results. But yeah, so this is our first World Baseball Classic since 2017. The MLB announced in 2021 that it would expand to 20 teams. So that means four more teams would be allowed into it, and they would be determined through qualifying tournaments, same as a World Cup type format. And so these were all originally planned to take place in 2020, and then obviously the tournament in 2021. But that was, of course, canceled because of COVID. So we lost that. And this year, it's finally back. So it's an 8-year hiatus there, or actually about six. So it's every 4 or so years they do it. And in 2017, the tournament returned to the format that they used in '06, where both the first and second rounds were round robin. And then the addition of a tiebreaker game if needed. So that just really allows for more matchups and different chances for big upsets and everything like that. So these games are action packed, man. They're thrilling. And with the expansion, there's more countries being represented. So, you can always count on more teams tuning in, more people from all around the world. And Team USA is the second best odds. They're on plus 260 for our betting people and are 2.6 to 1. And they're just slightly behind the Dominican Republic. They're the favorites at 2.2 to 1 or plus 220 for your money line. And Japan is not far behind both of those teams, man, led by Shohei Ohtani, and they could make some noise too. The United States begins their tournament Saturday, today, squaring off against Great Britain. And then that starts 4 games in 4 days for them. So they're going to be action packed. They start, fairly late, 9 or 10, I believe they're being played in Arizona. But these games are going to be intense. And then we move on from the group stage to the elimination stage. And it's going to be a great event, man. It's going to be a great event.
Are they playing all the games in Arizona?
I believe there's multiple venues. Um,
But yeah, I've been watching the highlights on YouTube, and there are some very exciting games, and the crowds are very energetic. Like I watched the game between Italy and Taiwan, and that crowd is just roaring the whole time.
yeah. Yeah, and I mean it's really cool because there's always different styles of baseball. It's kind of like the World Cup and the similar, it's a different style. Everyone plays their own styles, and it'll be cool. And there's 4 host cities. It's Taichung, Tokyo, Phoenix, and Miami are the 4 host cities for this
Mm.
year. So
What time does USA play today? I
they
might have
play
to watch
tonight
the
at
game.
9 Eastern.
All right, I'll stay tuned. I'll definitely watch that because watching them beat Great Britain is pretty funny
Yeah,
considering
it
the
should be.
historical context.
Yeah, exactly. There's already been a lot of historical chatter, so it's very exciting.
That's what I like about these international sports is like countries going head to head is it's better than war, obviously. I'd rather see who can beat each other in a sport than who can
Right.
kill each other.
Right, and I didn't know Great Britain was like that in baseball. So I guess we'll just see how that goes against
Are
like
they
Mike
like that?
Trout,
Like, are
Mookie
they good?
Betts. We don't expect them to win, no, to say otherwise.
Do you think 21 Savage is rooting for Britain or for America?
Probably Britain.
Probably, for Britain.
Yeah, his heritage.
All right, man. Any other remaining things you want to talk about? We got about 4.5 minutes left in today's show. Is there
Um,
anything else you want to bring up?
yeah, no, I mean, as far as really, I really like that vending machine with Hot Wheels. I
Oh,
think
that
that's a
was
great business
sweet.
idea. Great business
That
idea. I
is
mean,
an absolute business
vending, you
idea.
have to battle
Very smart.
your own with your snacks and everything, but this could be something. I think everyone wants a Hot Wheel, especially with a vending machine that's lighting up with colors. And oh, I feel like how could you
So where
resist? I
did you
mean,
see that at?
I just saw that on a group that I'm in on Facebook. You know, everyone posts what they see, and this is like in a Meyer in Canada, dude. Like, I didn't know, and it had them all layers of different cars on different ones, about 30, 40 different racks. I mean, it was impressive to say the least. I think if you got to
Yeah,
get
they
into
could
some sort of industry
easily
like
get money
that,
off that.
yeah, and they don't expire. You know what I mean? You wouldn't have food
That's
like
true.
expired.
You
They
could
would
just leave
never
them there
expire.
forever.
Right. Until they sell. So that's just a
I
little
mean, they'll
business
be
thing that
selling
popped
quick.
into my head this week. You know, I figured I'd share.
These vending machines at my school are just raking it in, dude. Like I'm spending easily $10 a week at the vending machine, and who else is doing that? I see other people using the vending machines all the time, it's just how it is today.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Especially, you know, walking out the store, your kid didn't get a toy and they see a little vending with a Hot Wheel in there. I mean, that'd be tough to resist. No doubt.
And they can't really say no to their kid if it's like $1.50. We got the Hot Wheel for like 50
Yeah, it's just
cents.
right there. It's convenient. Absolutely.
Sell hundreds of Hot Wheels out of our machine. Like it's too easy. You gotta market to kids, man. Like your bounce house idea too. Like kids are where the money's
Right.
at.
That's where it's at, man. That's no doubt about that. You just got to find a way to find what they like. I mean, it's always changing. You know,
Very
some things
lucrative
kind of they
market.
alternate, but you gotta find the teeter, what they like.
That's right. Like these toy manufacturers, dude, like toys probably don't cost that much to make and they're marked up a crap load because they know the parent would rather just buy it than hear the kid screaming.
Exactly right. That's usually that's the driving factor. I mean, you listen to them every time they scream and they get loud. All right, fine, we'll get it for you. You know, and then you want to be on the other side of that. Like, okay, we'll help you out. We'll help them quiet down.
Yeah, we'll help that kid shut up.
So, I mean, as far as you know, the podcast, we're hoping to be getting them out a couple times a week. I mean, got a lot to talk about. I mean, they're going to be a lot ready for the next one as well. So, you know, it'd be very exciting. You know, we appreciate everyone listening in.
Of course, if you're listening still, then thank you very much for tuning in, and hopefully we'll see you at the next one.